2 out of every 3 people paying for a gym membership right now will not go. They know they won't go. The gym knows they won't go, and the gym needs them not to go, because if every paying member showed up on the same day, the building would not hold them, and the business model would collapse. That is the economic engine underneath a $47 billion American industry. It was not always this way. The word itself comes from the ancient Greek gymnos, meaning naked. The first gymnasiums were open courtyards, where men trained unclothed for war and for the Olympic Games. Plato taught at one. Aristotle built his school inside another. For the Greeks, fitness was not a product. It was philosophy, then it vanished. For nearly 2,000 years after the fall of Rome, the sculpted body was a relic, not an ambition. Gyms disappeared. The concept of paying to exercise in a room with strangers did not exist in any economy on earth. It took a Frenchman with a circus pass to bring it back. In 1848, Hippolyte Triat, a former vaudeville strongman, opened Gymnase Triat in Paris. The facility occupied 100,000 square feet. It had ropes, barbells, pommel horses, and a business model that had never been tried before. Triat sold shares in the gym itself, 250,000 of them, at 5 francs each. Buyers could redeem shares for sessions or membership. It was a health club funded like a stock offering, decades before Wall Street knew what a health club was. Across the Atlantic, the YMCA opened its first gymnasium in Boston in 1850. A Boston YMCA staffer named Robert J. Roberts coined the term bodybuilding in 1881. He developed group exercise classes. The template that would define the next century of fitness was being drawn up in a building that most people walked past without noticing. But the man who truly rewrote the rules was a 21-year-old in Oakland, California. In 1936, Jack LaLanne opened what is widely considered the first modern health club in the United States. Doctors at the time warned patients that weightlifting was dangerous. LaLanne ignored them. He designed his own leg extension machines. He built pulley cable equipment. He invited women to lift weights, years before anyone else in the industry thought to try. He would go on to host the first nationally syndicated fitness television show, running from 1951 to 1985, turning a fringe activity into something a housewife in Kansas could do in her living room. LaLanne proved there was demand, but no one had figured out how to scale it. Then Vic Tanny did. Born Victor Iannadinardo in Rochester, New York, Tanny and his brother Armand emptied their joint bank account of $500 in 1939, borrowed $200 more, and opened a gym near Santa Monica Beach. After the war, Tanny expanded aggressively. His clubs had bowling alleys, movie screens, ballet classes, and Swiss chalet facades with skating rinks. One gym was gilded in real gold, down to the dumbbells. Tanny was the first to build gyms for men and women together. He pioneered the annual membership contract. He hired commission-only salespeople and trained them to close hard. So hard, in fact, that the New York State Attorney General imposed a fair practices code on the entire gym industry because of Tanny's tactics. By the early 1960s, Vic Tanny Centers had over 100 locations across the United States and Canada. It was the first national gym chain, and then his own strategy destroyed it. Tanny would maximize a location's membership, pledge the expected revenue as collateral, borrow money, and open another location. Overexpansion, poor management, and insufficient capital sent the franchise into bankruptcy. Tanny spent his remaining years in Florida, making unsuccessful attempts to revive the brand. He died of heart failure in 1985. His clubs were absorbed into a company called Bally Total Fitness. The name Vic Tanny vanished from the American storefront, but the model he proved that people would sign contracts and pay monthly for a place to exercise. That model was permanent. In 1965, a bodybuilder named Joe Gold opened a cinderblock gym in Venice Beach, California. He welded his own equipment. The building was dirty. The fixtures were crude. But Gold's gym became the center of the bodybuilding universe. In 1977, a documentary called Pumping Iron brought Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Venice Beach muscle scene into American living rooms. The film did not just launch Schwarzenegger's career. It made the gym aspirational. Gold sold the business in 1970. New owners began licensing the brand, then converted to a franchise model in 1980. By 2019, Gold's gym had roughly 700 clubs in 29 countries. Meanwhile, The 1980s detonated the fitness industry into mass culture. Jane Fonda released her first workout video on VHS in 1982. It would sell 17 million copies worldwide, the best-selling home video of its era. Women in leg warmers flooded into new chains. 24-Hour Fitness launched in 1983. LA Fitness followed in 1984. Jack LaLanne's European health spas reached over 200 locations before selling to Bally. The gym was no longer a niche. It was an industry, but what no one fully understood yet was the industry's central paradox. A gym is a terrible retail business. Customers take up more space than shoppers. They stay longer. They need changing rooms, showers, climate control, and expensive equipment that wears down under constant use. Rent and staff account for roughly 70% of operating costs. And unlike a store, a gym cannot increase foot traffic by putting a sales sign in the window. The economics do not work if every member actually uses the facility. The entire business model depends on oversubscription. Sell more memberships than the building can physically serve at once, and count on a large percentage of those members to stop coming while continuing to pay. The fitness industry calls this attrition management. Economists call it a payment for aspiration model. The gyms that understood this grew. The gyms that didn't went broke. The next evolution came from two brothers in New Hampshire who understood the paradox better than anyone. In 1992, Michael and Mark Grandal acquired a failing Gold's Gym franchise in Dover, New Hampshire. They closed it, reopened it as Coastal Fitness, and asked a question that no one else in the industry was asking: why do 80 to 85% of Americans not belong to a gym? Their answer was intimidation and cost. So they stripped everything out. No heavy free weights, no group classes, no juice bar, no childcare. They installed a siren on the wall, called the lunk alarm, rigged to go off if someone grunted too loudly or dropped a weight, and they dropped the price to $10 a month. The name they chose was Planet Fitness, the judgment-free zone. The bet was that the vast majority of people did not want a serious gym. They wanted permission to say they belonged to one. Franchising began in 2003. By the time Planet Fitness went public in August 2015 at $16 a share, the chain had nearly 1,000 locations and 7.1 million members. By the end of 2025, that number had reached 20.8 million members across 2,896 clubs. 1 in 4 American gym members now belongs to Planet Fitness. The company charges less per month than a streaming subscription, operates at over 40% adjusted EBITDA margins, and generated $1.3 billion in revenue in fiscal 2025. Then 2020 arrived, and the floor fell out of every gym on earth. COVID-19 forced gyms across the United States to shut their doors beginning March 2020. Industry revenue fell 58% in a single year, from $35 billion to roughly $15 billion. 17% of fitness facilities permanently closed. 24-Hour Fitness, once the largest chain in the country, filed for bankruptcy in June 2020 and shrank from over 500 locations to roughly 240. Gold's Gym went bankrupt the same year and was sold to a German fitness group called RSG for approximately $100 million. 30% of boutique studios shuttered permanently. The industry shed 1.5 million jobs. At the same time, Peloton, the connected bike company, surged. Its stock hit $171 per share in January 2021. Its market cap touched $50 billion. Wall Street declared the gym dead and the living room the future. Within 2 years, Peloton's stock had crashed 94%. Its market value fell to roughly $3 billion. The founder was ousted. Lululemon discontinued its mirror home fitness product. The living room was not the future. People came back to the building. By 2024, American gym memberships hit a record 77 million, more than at any point before the pandemic. But the real collapse had not started yet. It had only changed shape. The industry that came back is not the one that closed. The middle is being hollowed out. Analysts describe a K-shaped divergence. Budget chains like Planet Fitness are thriving. Premium clubs like Lifetime, which charges upward of $190 a month and generated $2.6 billion in revenue in 2024, are thriving. Everything in between is under pressure from both directions. Today, the U.S. gym industry generates approximately $47 billion in annual revenue. 81 million Americans hold a membership. The global fitness market was valued at $131 billion in 2025. Those numbers are the scoreboard. They do not explain the machine. Strip away the history, and the mechanism is simple. The foundation is the membership due, a recurring monthly charge drafted automatically from a bank account or credit card. For a budget gym, it can be as low as $10 to $15. For a premium club, it can exceed $200. Either way, the money arrives whether the member walks through the door or not. 2 out of 3 memberships are rarely or never used. Roughly 50% of new members cancels within their first 6 months. The gym replaces them in January, when up to 75% of all new memberships are sold, but dues are only the floor. The largest single revenue segment in the global fitness industry is personal training, which accounts for approximately 47% of total health club revenue worldwide. A gym sells you the space for $10 a month, then offers to teach you how to use it for $75 an hour. Group fitness classes extend this further. Members who attend group classes stay for an average of 22.6 months. Gym floor-only members last 16.2 months. The class is not just a product. It is a retention tool that extends the subscription. Beyond training, there are enrollment fees, annual maintenance fees, premium tier upgrades, supplement sales, branded merchandise, juice bars, spa services, tanning, and recovery amenities. For Planet Fitness, the Black Card upgrade to $25 a month, which adds tanning, massage chairs, and guest privileges, now accounts for 2/3 of all memberships. The company makes additional revenue by buying fitness equipment at bulk prices and reselling it to its own franchises at a markup. The equipment segment alone generated $310 million in 2025. The gym does not need you to show up every day. In fact, if every member showed up at once, the business would collapse. The real product is not the treadmill or the dumbbell. It is the recurring charge, the aspiration attached to it, and the friction required to make it stop. Canceling a gym membership has been, historically, deliberately difficult. The FTC's click-to-cancel rule, enacted in 2025, was partly inspired by how hard some chains made it to leave. The ancient Greeks trained naked in open courtyards and called it philosophy. The modern industry charges a monthly fee for a room most people never enter and calls it wellness. Between those two ideas sits one of the most psychologically sophisticated business models ever built. The company that perfected it serves free pizza on the first Monday of every month. 75% of Americans still don't belong to any gym at all. That is not a failure. That is the next market.